Hey guys, this is Cruise Roy. Today I want to talk about my SAB 700. It's been converted to a gasser. I bought it used. It originally had an Icon version 2 with 2 satellites and a Spectrum system. I've changed it over now to the Futaba T8FG Super, and it's running RGX servos on the cyclic, a high voltage RGX on the tail, and an align for a throttle servo. I just want to slowly go over everything here. I want to show you the settings because I wanted to put the DJI WooKong H on here. Simply saying I don't do any 3D, I just want to use it for sport flying, and I want it to be as stable as possible. I'm just getting too old. So I had to bring out my old laptop with Windows 7 because the DJI software has no support for 8.1, 8.2, and 10. And I'm really surprised there's very limited support on this WooKong H and their Ace 1 and all their other products that they have, seeing that they're not cheap. You're talking $2,500 for the Ace 1. The WooKong H's usually go for about $1,500, and the only thing that runs on a gasser with the vibration. But what I want to do is go over the setup. I need some tips. I can't really find anything online. It's pretty basic. I've written a few people. I have an issue with my ratio because this is a belt, not a gear. So I'll go over all of that, and maybe someone can throw me some answers before this baby goes up in the air. It's winter time. I've been using my drones just to putt around, but I want to get this ready for summer and have a lot of fun without any incident and crashing. So let me go over the setup. I'm going to pick up the camera here and try to go over everything that I possibly can and go over the software and hook it up. Alright, so you got your VTX, it's a 275 toxic, still with the Polestar down below. I installed the Statigator, that goes right in through the kill switch here. Alright, my wiring, you have the Futaba, the WooKong controller, I guess this is the IMU. I mounted right behind as close as I could to the center of gravity. Tack down these little tacks all the way to the GPS on the tail. I recently picked up a throwaway 3D printer that someone was throwing away because it didn't work, and I printed up a new GPS mount. Alright, and if you look up under the tail, there's the LED, so I can see it while she's flying. And I mounted the CAN bus right here with the hookup for the LED, and the wiring comes up and everything's a giant mishmash here. And I also 3D printed a base plate here to hold everything here, and the canopy goes on and it works really well. I'm in the process of filing down a stanchion for here because the bolts are removed from the tank because they rub against the canopy, so I'm going to make it a lot tighter and get that closed up. I don't want the frame to separate. Like I said, Statigator, I'm running pulse batteries. This one's here temporarily because I'm charging the other ones, and I got the USB hooked up right now. And like I said, I'm running the Futaba T8FG. Printed a little Goblin plate, and I also picked up a cheap tape to do the measurements on the centimeters. So I got problems with how that's actually set up to center of gravity X, Y, and Z. I got an idea where the center of gravities are. If I understand it or say it wrong, please tell me. And the gear ratio, because we're running a belt. So I'll show you the information on that, and someone can probably tell me what to input into the software. So let me put the camera back and we'll hook everything up. And then I'm probably going to have to aim really close to the computer so you guys can see the settings. Alright, let me turn the radio on first. Release my throttle cut. The USB is connected to the WooKong. I'm going to turn the battery on. It's going to initialize. Come over here to the computer, laptop. I'm going to read the data, which it already automatically comes up. So what I'm going to do is try to get as close as I can to the computer so you can see my settings. Okay, that looks pretty good. First things first, don't hack my software, but I'll show you the about and the info. I got no error codes. It shows flyby on. Let me back up just a little bit so you can see the whole screen. Flyby on, the engine, governor control, gyro, heading hold 44%, pilot, manual. I want to go to the info. It says version ID. I got software 2.1, firmware 3.0, hardware blah blah blah. The IMU, I guess those are the serial numbers, and loader is 3.0.1. Everything here is enabled: autopilot, tail gyro, fly-by-less, engine governor, auto hover, fail-safe, semi-auto takeoff and landing. Let me get out of that. Now I took this trusty dandy centimeter tape and I did my measurements for my IMU. They say that Y is the center of the unit, so your helicopter, so that would be set at 0, and the GPS is at 0 because it's running right down the center of the helicopter. That's what I'm assuming. Now the X, I got minus 12 centimeters, and the Z-axis is minus 30. That's the IMU. And on the GPS I got minus 60, and the Z-axis is minus 10 from the center of gravity. So just to kind of briefly go over stuff, what I did is went from center of IMU, and you have the center of the GPS, but the GPS is from GPS to the rotor head, IMU to the rotor head, and then you have this access line, which is the tail center of gravity. So gyro, point down, IMU, point down. That's where I'm assuming I'm getting this. And right now I have blinking 3-pulse red lights. I'm inside, so it's not really going to pick up any satellites. But back to the screen. So like I said, I got no errors. I'm going to go, I have it facing forward. These were the dimensions I came up with. Go to the fly-by-less on. I left these settings all at default settings. So if anybody has any tips on making this fly, I want it as stable as possible without shaking. I just care about putt-putting around all day and relaxing. Swash plate, I am running on the HR-3. The S2 on the Goblin is the right position. Again, I will show you the movements that everything seems to be working. I haven't done any trimming because of course I haven't been flying. I've reversed them in normal, the proper way. Tail gyro, with that I'm a 760 at 333, and I put my travel limits in. I've got no binding on the tail. I have no binding at all on the tail. I got it in normal mode. Now the engine governor. Alright, I set it at governor control. I can't really do the testing. Do I do this with the motor running? I put a gear ratio in at 7:1. I'd like to know what I want for RPM if I can. If someone can answer these questions, the RPM and 7:1 should be. It's doing a flicker thing here, the magnetic sensor, because it's not a magnetic sensor. I'm running the Statigator. I put it at 150% where it says gasoline engines. That's the default. Let me show you an email I got from Kerry Shirley from Gas Powered Thoughts. The 700 standard is 7.031, and the competition with the wider belt is 713-1. I talked to Chris Bergen. He says that the Statigator works fine on the Zenoa engines. So I'm just trying to use whatever I can use. What am I supposed to put in for the 703 or the 7? I know it's the 713-1. So I just put 7:1, but I'm not sure if that's the proper way of doing this. So that's the engine governor. That's one of the questions. The other question was the mounting on the proper locations here. I hope I'm correct. So those are two good questions I didn't understand. I think I got it right. Now you got the TX. Now all the TX movements are correct, and I set the switch on the Futaba to give me manual, altitude mode, GPS mode. So it seems to be working correctly. And I found a video on Ace 1, kind of shows you how to set up your Futaba correctly and dial it in so you get these positions right. But I see people have a fail-safe. That's the return home. I'm going to leave it like this for now until I get it working, but I'll show you the radio and the lights blinking on the heli. Right now I got 3 blinking red lights. I put it in attitude mode. 3 blinking red lights, 2 yellow. And GPS is 3 red, 2 purple. And I've tried putting it into calibration mode, and it does work. So hopefully I can send this whole video on one time here. Okay, so let's go on to the next. You have to hit this little arrow here, go to the next menu. This is the check menu. I've gone through all of this. I know it's understandable. You get it out of manual mode, put it in auto. Now this will light up. So the first one is controller output check. So it's telling me the pitch on the helicopter is going to go up first, down, and up. Do a recheck. Supposed to go up, down, and back up. So that seems to be okay. Now back to that setup wizard again. The next one here is front, back, front. This is the swash plate. Of course it does it the minute I hit it, so I'll move the camera over. I'll do a recheck. So front, back, and front. Okay. We'll go to next. And what that's doing is the swash plate's supposed to move left, right, and left. Alright. So, my third question is working on a counterclockwise, which it's working on the rudder. And I hope I have that set properly. It's supposed to be clockwise, counterclockwise, counterclockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise. So I think that's good. And in the programming now, there's other things to do here where you got to take it back into manual mode. It takes it right out of there. Now you have the IMU feedback, and then the battery performance test. So I'm going to do the battery performance test right here. Let me put you over to the swash. Let's hit start. What it does, the thing just goes nuts, I guess. Calculate how much battery. I don't know how good that battery is, so, but it goes for so many seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, test. Alright, so even a small 2200 battery from Pulse, or 2500 life battery, I'll get a good test result. The feedback check is how the swash moves when you move the whole heli. I'm pretty sure I got that straightforward. So now in the next menu you got the autopilot. If someone can kind of give me a brief of what all this means, I just set it to default, and then center position on the fail-safe. If I move the Futaba to the center, it clears up. If it's not on the center, it starts dancing around. And they go full throttle, same thing. So you center your sticks, and these are all the settings. So those were the big questions. Where do I have the mounting correct? How do I set up the governor with that 7.13 semicolon, I guess that's called, I forgot, 1. And so I don't know if it's 13, is it 7 to 1, is it 13 to 1? Can someone please answer that question for me? And just a few things in the, not the autopilot, but the fail-safe. Should I run that right now? And what are the autopilot settings, just to go over some basic setups. I know it has something to do with the gain and all that, like you would set up in your radio for more stability or less. But if anybody knows a good setting, like I said, I just wanted to putt around and kind of enjoy the day flying. All right. So again, this is Cruise Roy with the WooKong H Goblin 700, the VTX Toxic 275, Stata Futaba setup. Just need some tips and hints from people, please. it's very hard to find anything. And like I said, I've been using the Ace 1 videos from DJI. What happened to all the WooKong videos for DJI? You click on their site, it says error, everything gone. Why is there no support for DJI? If anybody can answer that, and we put it back in manual. And very, very appreciative to all the forums and all the help I've gotten over the years. This is about my 4th year of flying and building, mostly building and crashing. I kind of enjoy tinkering, but I do enjoy flying as well. I appreciate everything to all that's out there, to all the forums. And this is Cruise Roy, and I'm out of here.